two, three. This time of day, everything's okay. I take a long look around, I have to say, this time of year, it becomes clear.
Hello. Welcome to your friends and neighbors. I am your host, Willy Jones. I hope you know that by now, but if you don't, I am Willy. And we are here today to, we have a very interesting program for you, something that will not only benefit you, but it will also benefit your friends and neighbors and your relatives and many, many people in this community of Bennington and the surrounding communities here in southwestern Vermont. And our guests today are going to be talking about a program that is called Hour for Hour Community Time Exchange. And the three guests that I have with me today are very proficient in talking about this program. So let's meet our guests, find out a little bit about them. To my immediate right, yes, is Rosemarie Pelletier. She is from Pownell. And Rosemarie, before we get into the gist of our program today, could you just let our viewers know just a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. I became one of your friends and neighbors back in 1979 when I first moved to Vermont, one of the best decisions in my life. And I'm a high school teacher, retired now, which is a status I would encourage everybody to aspire to.
Yeah, okay.
Taught here at Mount Anthony for 16 years and at Mount Greylock for 13, altogether 40 years of
40.
teaching when I retired.
Yeah, 29 is all I could get
Oh,
to.
yeah, but I loved it. I loved all 40 years of it. And, you know, have since gotten involved in other activities and am looking forward to presenting about the Hour for Our Community.
Okay. And to Rosemarie's right is Abby Skidmore. Could you tell us just a little bit about yourself, Abby?
Sure. I was born and raised here.
In Bennington?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Graduated MAU 2007, went off to college, MCLA, and graduated there in 2011. Went down to the beach, down to Florida, took some time to travel, came back to work on my dreams and goals, and I'm finally certified for massage therapist for Vermont. So I just started working at Village Salon and Spa, across from Ramunto's, right on Main Street. I love Hour for Hour. It's really helped me get to where I am. And now I'm just continuing my education.
How long did you spend in Florida? How long did you take after you graduated?
Less than a year.
Okay.
And I came back
that was
home.
probably a good thing to do, to take that time for
Yeah.
yourself. And we think that we're going to get some shows from Abby for for Mindful Health Alternatives with Darlene Young when we found out that she is involved with massage therapy and, oh God, Reiki, all kinds of things. So that'll be wonderful. And to Abby's immediate right, we have Michael Washington.
Yep.
Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you folks are watching us today. Good morning, good
Hi.
evening, good afternoon. Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name's Michael, and I have been in Bennington now I lived in Bennington in 2005 for a little while, went back to Albany, and came back to Bennington in 2012. I do a lot of volunteer work around the area in Bennington, and now I've embraced Bennington and Vermont as my home. I am a volunteer coordinator at the Turning Point,
Okay.
and I also do a lot of volunteer activities in and around Bennington with a couple of organizations. I went to CCV and graduated from there last year, and I'm currently a full-time student now at Springfield College, which is based in Massachusetts, but I go to the St. Johnsbury campus here in Vermont 1 weekend a month
So
for
you're busy.
schooling.
You're busy.
Yeah.
You're a busy man. You don't have much time. What do you do for fun when you have a little time?
Well, this is part of my fun,
Oh, okay.
working with the Hour for Our Community.
okay.
And, you know, I'm really into volunteering. That really has opened up a lot of doors for me. It's given me a chance to embrace the community and get acclimated and meet a lot of good people. So that's basically what my life is
volunteering
about.
at WBTN for about 12 years, and the volunteering that I've done here and doing this show, I've gotten to meet so many wonderful people in the area and to talk to them and to find out more about them. So that's why I really enjoy doing this show. And this program that started, well, how many years ago, Rosemary?
This program, for our community, started, 3 years ago. I think it was the Vermont Rural Development Initiative happened in Bennington, and when the community identified areas of concern, strengths, and weaknesses, the idea of a time exchange came up to address some of those concerns. And so we started meeting, there were 5 of us, started meeting to lay the groundwork for this, do some research, etc. And we consider our birthday, I think, our second birthday will be this June.
Okay.
In terms of really getting it off the ground and rolling. It's a simple idea, but 501c3 status and getting a trade name, those kinds of things, bylaws, that's what took the time initially.
Right. We're going to talk more about the program and find out what it's all about. One of the things in your pamphlet, it said core values of time exchange. It said the real wealth of a society is its people. Doing it the Vermont way, neighbor to neighbor, so that you need me becomes we need each other. And I found that out many times in my life that I've had to reach out to other people. And a lot of times people have a hard time doing that. They hate to depend on their friends or their neighbors. And I think this is a wonderful program that could help people break out of that I don't know if it's a habit or not like that. I was thinking about habits. When you were talking about working at Turning Point, do they take people that have addictions to books and movies?
Actually, it's a total recovery center.
Yeah, okay. So you might be able to help me.
Fortunately, for that kind of addiction, I don't know if we want people to recover from that because that's a good thing.
Okay.
But,
all right. Well, Rosemary's going to give us a little bit of a history about this whole program. I mean, you just told us a little bit, but what exactly, is this program? How does it work?
Okay. Well, it's a real simple idea. It simply says everybody has something to offer, and also everybody needs something at some time or other. And, we've lived in communities in the past where the community was small enough that we knew each other and we knew who to go to ask for, help. I need a little bit of plumbing help. I need a little bit of construction help. I need, somebody to show me how to use my iPhone, whatever.
Hang a picture.
Hang a picture. Big things, little things. But now we are larger communities. We don't know each other that well. Right. So part of this is to build the connections between people. And, you were saying about the wonderful people you've met.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that has been a real gift to me in this organization is the people it has brought into my life. I mean, I wouldn't know Abby or Michael except for this organization. Okay. But what it is basically a membership organization where once you become a member, you determine which services you're willing to provide to other members. And we have software that facilitates listing that so people can know who's offering what.
Right.
And
folks, that I know nothing about the software or anything like that, but they'll explain that to you.
Yeah, we do an orientation for people and we demonstrate the software. But the idea is that everybody comes in with each day with 24 hours a day. So an hour of your time is of equal value to an hour of my time. And so time is the currency that we use. And so it equalizes people. It's very democratic in that way.
It's like the old days of bartering.
Yes.
In a way.
In a way, it's that idea, but there's a different sort of slant to it in that if I were bartering with you, we would have to find services that we could mutually exchange. Whereas in this organization, if you give an hour of service to any member in the group, you don't have to get an hour back from that member. You get an hour back from any member in the group.
Any member of your group.
And the software sort of keeps track of your bank account to know how many hours you've earned and how many hours you've spent. And there's no dickering. If we were bartering, we would have to decide, you're going to roof rake, take the snow off my roof. Is that how much more valuable is that than I'm going to go and walk your dog while you're away?
Right.
You know, there's none of that bartering in that sense.
Right.
It's an hour's worth an hour.
So if I decided I'm going to give somebody a ticket to see a show at Oldcastle, I don't expect them to give me that value of that ticket.
No.
It could be anything.
It,
Anything, whatever they can
right.
offer me.
And that kind of a thing is a little bit difficult
That's not what
to
you're
do.
looking at.
No, it's actually you're spending time.
Time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Not
so,
money.
for example, Abby can do massage. Okay, so when she does a massage, she spends an hour doing that massage. Then she's earned an hour credit, and she can then say to some other member, you know, she was moving from one apartment to another. Would somebody come help me move my stuff?
Right.
And the hour that they would spend doing that balances out.
Our executive director here at
Yes.
Oldcastle, or
Not
Oldcastle, at Cat TV,
Uh-huh.
could have used that help when she was moving a few weeks ago.
Oh, right, yes. You know, so that's basically what it is. It's a membership organization where the members have agreed to be willing to do certain things for the other members in the group.
So, and you've given some examples here. How many members do you have in this group at the moment?
We currently have 113 members.
And all different ages.
We accept members from 18 up.
Okay.
Okay, that you have to be an adult.
Yeah.
And I would say our demographic is more 40 and older, but we do have some younger people.
And they're all involved in different careers, different occupations where whatever they're good at
Right,
would really
yes.
be helpful to this organization.
Right, yes. So the power of this is it's completely membership driven. The more members you have, the more skill sets you have out there to tap into. So the more likely you are when you want to request something to have somebody within the organization who's willing to assist you. We don't make any guarantees. You know, you put out a request to be driven to the Albany airport on a certain day, and somebody may respond to that and drive you there,
Right.
but we don't guarantee that you're going to get a response.
Right.
You may end up having to drive yourself.
Yeah, right.
And we don't warranty any of the work. All we do is facilitate the connections.
Right. Now, for short, you call yourselves H40 or H40? What is it?
It's H40, H for hour, the word hour meaning the time. For the word FOR, we
Yeah.
did the number 4. And we'd like to encourage people to do 4 exchanges a month.
Right.
So we sort of use that too as an enticement in our title. And then the other is an O, the letter O for our, meaning our possessive community.
Okay.
And it is, you know, it's the inexperience doing things. When we first established this, nobody gave any thought to when you read that in print, you won't know to put the email address
Okay.
as a 40 or a 4, the letter O.
When I first
And it
looked-
is,
When I
yeah.
first looked at it, I said H2O. What does that have to do? And then I realized there was a 4 there.
Yeah.
Is it, how many communities or how many organizations are there like this in Vermont?
I think there's 4 or 5 in Vermont,
This is the only one in southwestern Vermont?
and this is the only one in the southwest corner. It's a national, matter of fact, it's an international organization. And we have if you go to ourworld.org, you'll see a map on the opening screen of that, which shows all of the different time banks in the United States. And you'll see that they're very strongly clustered up in the Pennsylvania, East Coast, New England area.
So you said international.
International, there's British
What are some
ones.
of the other countries? You said
Britain has a number of them, and it's spreading. Spain, after Canada
They're-
does.
it's all-
Canada.
yeah.
Where did it start? Do you know?
It started in the United States in 1985, I think.
Okay. And what state?
That I don't remember.
You don't know. Okay.
And it was actually a lawyer who was sick and wanted to help people, and with a bartering system, there are tax implications.
Okay.
And so he devised this system, which is why an hour for an hour. There's no value put on these things, so there's no tax implications.
Okay.
But it's sort of taken off since the recession.
Right.
You know,
Worldwide, it actually started in '73.
was it 73?
Yeah, I had to look this up. Obviously, it's not something
That's
you
all
just
right.
know,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But very interesting reading on it, and I found that in '73, it was introduced in Japan.
Oh,
Japan.
okay.
Yeah, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of the guy,
No, that's all right.
but it's you know, it was an idea for exactly what Rosemary's talking about, to get people to participate and use their skills or time to help others and to bring community closer together. The great thing about it, just to reiterate what Rosemary was saying, is, you know, I like the fact that if I do need Rosemary to come over and help me, if I need any help at all, say hanging a picture, we'll keep it, I can just post it onto the site. And that a person may respond, and then we can work it out together. You know, usually our phone numbers or emails are available on the site, so people can, you know, contact, and then we work out the time in the day and things like that. And if, you know, a person is willing to spend 2 hours or whatever, all of that gets negotiated between the two people who agree to do the exchange. The good thing about it is once you leave and you've helped me put up my paintings or whatever, I'm not obligated to pay you back with service. You may leave and say Rosemary goes home and then she posts a request. It's not like I'm obligated to respond to that because she came and helped me with the, you know, she's good at hanging pictures. So she saw, you know, an opportunity to use her skill and time to do that. Whereas I may respond to another member who needs help with, you know, needs computer help or needs putting together an accounting system, which is, you know, something that I like to do.
Right.
So, you know, it's a recycling of skills and time that goes throughout the membership, and that's what I like about it.
Well, I like the fact too that being a Luddite that I am, that I could call somebody. I don't, because I don't use a computer, have a computer. I know Rosemary said that I could always get in touch with her or, you know, any member.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of ways
Yes.
to communicate besides going
you could
into
lead
the.
me to somebody
Yeah.
or
The main way of communicating with the members and finding out what's being offered and who's offering it is on the computer.
Right.
And if you don't have a computer at home, you can always go to a public library and
Right.
do it. But we have a member, you know, who's housebound. You know, if that person didn't have a computer, they could pick up the phone, call me, tell me what their request is. They call me because I'm the coordinator. They don't just call a member and
Right,
and do
right.
this. But call me and I could post for them
Okay.
their request and then and give them the phone number and then people could contact them directly.
And there
So
are quite a few people who are housebound.
Yes.
That's one of the things I really appreciate about Cat TV is a lot of people want to be able to go to church. They can't get out, but there are services that are shown on Cat TV, and they can do that. They can't get out to a select board meeting, or they
Right.
can't get to see their grandchild doing a show.
right.
If it's been taped and it's on here on Cat TV, it's something that Cat TV does for their friends and neighbors.
Right,
So
yes.
I mean, I really one thing I really appreciate about a Cat TV. Now, Abby is here today because she is a member, and she can tell us a little bit about that. Although, was there a clip that you wanted? A
Maybe
little video?
this might be a good time to do the clip because before we do the clip, sort of talking about this housebound,
Right,
and
right.
part of the other thing is to try to build community, one exchange at a time, and bridge some of the socioeconomic divides that sometimes exist.
Right.
So you rub shoulders with people you wouldn't normally rub shoulders with.
Yeah.
And we have one member who is housebound and is on oxygen 24/7. So the initial exchanges started out where different people agreed to do grocery shopping, you know, and then they come in, deliver the groceries, there's visiting that goes on, and there's a connection that gets made. Later in the, you know, had been a member for months, and then all of a sudden had a medical emergency, has a dog, and called me and said, you know, the emergency vehicle is coming, I'm going to the hospital. can you do anything about the dog? Because we have people who have put pet sitting on.
Right.
Well, the normal passage, there's normally a time lapse. You put your request out when people get to the computer and look at it, might not be every day. We send out a notice every Friday of what's new, but, this was urgent. And so I put out a flash bulletin to all the members. And within a half hour, Abby was one of them, if I remember right. Within a half hour, I had 3 people who had called and said, I'll take care of the dog.
Oh, great.
And it ended up, the woman was had to go to rehab afterwards. So the dog actually got moved around from member to member as people couldn't do it any longer, when she was home and reunited with her dog, things were fine. And then this happened again. And then after she was home again, she realized that, this is probably not the best thing for the dog anymore.
Right.
Well, one of the people who had the dog the last time, and this is on the video, adopted the dog and has formed a connection with the member also, and brings the dog to visit her. Great. So it's just perfect. So maybe that would be a good time to show that video.
All right. Well, why don't we take a few minutes here to look at that video, and we can find out exactly what Rosemary was talking about.
I'm Jill Fortney, and this is my husband, Alan Fortney. And I'm a member of the Hour for Hour Community Time Bank. And Alan and I are both retired educators. I joined the Time Bank about a year ago, and have loved the idea of it, loved the program itself. I have a pretty wide skill set, so I listed a number of jobs that I would do, and have helped a woman organize her sewing room, and have provided transportation for people going to the Albany airport or the Albany train station. And we have received a person who drove us to the Boston airport before we left for our trip for Ireland, and another who picked us up. In spite of the fact that the plane was a few hours late, we were very relieved that she was there waiting for us. And then more recently, I took the train to visit my sister in Buffalo, and the train was 5 hours late coming back. And Alan could not pick me up. It was dark. He doesn't drive at night. And I called one of the time exchange people, and she met me at the train station, in spite of the fact that it was late. And I really appreciated that. She was a little bit of a savior. Loki, stop. Okay? But I think the greatest gift was our little friend here, Benjamin. And we had, I had dog sat him for about 6 weeks. His mistress was in ill health. And
we dog sat him.
we dog sat him. And so when his mistress decided that she wasn't able to continue to care for him, and liked that he had developed a friendship with our other dogs, he came to stay with us. And he is a delight and a treasure. Go ahead.
He really is a delight.
Well, that was very interesting. Alan and Jill Fortney, who live here in Bennington, took care of that dog. They've adopted the dog. I think it's wonderful that they take the dog to visit that person. That's wonderful. And now you are a member of this, Abby. Now, how did you hear about H4O, and what have you gotten out of being part of this organization?
My mom actually told me about it. I didn't understand really what she was trying to tell me. I'm like, hour, 4 hour, what are you talking about? HOUR, I don't get it. I'll look it up. I'll Google it. Okay, Mom. You know, I was actually looking for a therapist, a counselor, and I didn't have insurance at the time. I'm like, I can't, I want to go to therapy. I want to see somebody, but that's like $100 an hour. Yeah. I'm never going to be able to do it. I went on when I finally, figured out what she was talking about, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people that are offering so many things, and there's a list of them that are offering, to be that ear.
Oh, that's
For
wonderful.
counseling, advice, all these things. And so I said, yeah, I'll sign up, I'll join.
Yeah, that's great.
And my mom, Kendi, is a member, or was a member, and if she wasn't, I told her to join after that. But I got started right away. I contacted Rosemary, and she told me about the orientation and when the next one was over at the library and how to use the software. And I went there, met a couple members, and she showed me all about the site. And I said, it could be difficult for some people, but it was a piece of cake for me. To be able to get on there and really understand what she was talking about. I didn't have any problems with it at all, I don't think. I just immediately went on there, saw what people were offering, and listed every single thing I could think of that I was willing or able to do. And then just went crazy putting what I wanted, because it's not just, looking for a counselor. I wanted someone to help me clean or go for walks with me, exercise friend, and then throughout time I've found it really useful for like moving, and so many things are available on there, and you just have to reach out, and that's what I've been slowly learning, that it's okay to ask for help, and when you do, especially with programs like this, it's really easy to get the help.
It is hard. It is so hard for some people to reach out and say, I need help.
Right.
I was very fortunate. My wife was very sick for quite a while, and she passed away 4 years ago. But I had friends who I could depend on, that were there for me, and I didn't have to go and ask for help. They were so willing to give it to me. But I'm one of those people that is a little asking for help. I mean, I was lucky that they wanted to give it.
Right.
And I'm sure it was difficult for you. And did you get the help that you wanted? Have you gotten some of the...
Yeah, I made a lot of friends
Yeah,
so
oh,
far.
that's
It's
great.
just the connections are just unbelievable. The people I've met and how friendly and nice everyone has been, and just so helpful and willing to just, listen. I was actually going through a legal issue, and I didn't, just feeling really lost.
Yeah.
And there was someone on there offering legal advice for the exact thing that I needed. And I called her up, and she was just so concerned and so available. Call me anytime. She told me everything she knew about, what might be helpful for me to know.
Yeah.
Kind of some stuff about her background and who she is and her story. And I told her my story, and we just talked and got to know each other. And she gave me some really good advice and really made me feel better about what I was going through, and that it was all going to be okay. And I marked her down for however long we were on the phone.
Yeah.
So she got that time added to her balance for her time exchange account, and I deducted it from my balance, and that was great.
Who keeps track of this balance?
The person who receives the services records it in the software,
Oh, okay.
and it automatically takes it out of their account and puts it into the person who received the services.
Oh, okay.
And and then it just keeps a running balance on that. So the members between themselves record it.
Okay. Now, Michael, you're busy volunteering in many, many places, but how did you first become involved with H4O? So much easier to say.
Yeah.
It is.
H40. We say H40 even though it's an O.
No,
Yeah,
we say
yeah,
H4O.
We say H40. I was saying H40 for
Oh, okay.
It sounded like
Which
more
is
like,
confusing
Did you meet Rosemary at first, or how did you find out?
Well, actually I met Rosemary. She came to I was a student at CCV, as I mentioned earlier.
Oh, right.
And I was in I forgot what class it was. It was
With Amy Kessinger.
Amy, but I had her twice. It was conflict resolution, I think.
Okay.
Was the class, which I don't know what it really has to do with this, but that's just she knew our professor. So
Right.
and Rosemary was out putting the word out about it, and one of the things that she did, and we still do, or try to do now, is to go out to the different organizations and schools and present this. So as a student, she came in. I was a student, and she came in and made the presentation. And, it was really interesting. I mean, it just, I'm from New York City originally. And, you just don't think about that kind of community, togetherness in a big city like New York.
Yeah, was that a shock for you when you came from New York City to Little Bennington?
Well, not overall, because I lived on Staten Island. I grew up on Staten Island, which to New York City residents is considered the country, which
right.
We're the lost suburb or whatever, because we have a couple of trees, But I'm not unfamiliar with suburban life, but this type of rural setting was new to me, of course, and so. But what interested me more was the fact that we're talking about complete strangers initially, reaching out to each other. And so I listened to the presentation, and Rosemary speaks very well, and she really made it fun to listen to. And so after the offer was made after class, we could come to her and talk to her about it. And she asked who might be interested and passed us around some literature. And so I got started that way. And I joined probably right away. The next opportunity I joined, and didn't get involved right away because I just was so busy and had other things going on, but I wanted to do something. So there was even an opportunity to help with the different types of setups that we have. Rosemary let me know that I could help with the software, or you can put time, and you can help in so many ways. With the handing out pamphlets and doing other things to help the organization. As I've done that over the past year, it came time for to have a new board member, and Rosemary invited me to one of our potlucks that we have monthly, and I went, and she got me. She ring. The next thing you know, I'm on the board of directors.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
And I think Rosemary told me you have four.
We have
people on your board?
4 people on our board.
You and Michael.
And then we have.
I'm not on the board.
Oh, you're not on the board.
Chris
officially.
Bongard,
Yes,
with
you mentioned that to me the other
with
day.
the health department, is on the board, and Dorothea Izzo, who is a independent. She works from home, telecommunicates, whatever. She's a web designer.
Okay.
Is on our board, and Fronia Simpson is on our board, and she also works from home, and so they're all members.
Okay.
And one of the things we've built, it's a membership-run organization, so we have 2-year term limits for our board of directors. So because we want a turnover, we want fresh ideas, we want people to be involved and feel like they have a say. And so Bruce Kennedy was on our board, and when his term was up, Bruce is the one who ended up, Michael is the one who ended up filling Bruce's position.
And you meet once a month. That's what you
Yes.
said. Once a month, have a potluck. Oh.
Well, the potluck.
What's your dish to bring?
The potluck actually. What did I bring? I forgot.
You brought an apple dessert. I think.
Apple brownies.
Oh,
I
okay.
missed that one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And speaking of the potlucks, we have, I think, a couple pictures of the potlucks that we've done.
Oh, good. So,
this one was in conjunction with the annual board meeting.
Okay.
Because our members are the ones who determine, our policies. If we have an opportunity to exchange with other exchanges, so like there's one in White River Junction, we could open up the software so you could exchange from a distance. That's a little harder to do, but our members have expressed about 50% of them are interested in us checking that out. So
now you, Rosemary said that there are other organizations in Vermont. Have you ever met with any people from these organizations?
We've communicated. I know that we've had a couple of communications
Not personally.
via email to ask some questions about how they're doing things, because you want to get an idea of other things we can do here. So we look at some other models to see I mean, there's a basic model, but we look at how they work some things out to see if there's something we can do. And when we were looking at the, what was it, when we were looking at the nonprofit part of it.
Right, when we were looking to get instead of getting our own 501c3, which is difficult to do, and we're on a very limited budget, we were looking for a fiscal agent, and we wanted to find out how other time banks did that. Who did they have as their sponsors?
Okay.
Right now, we're excited that the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship here in Bennington has agreed to be our fiscal agent, and that has only happened within the last couple months.
Right.
So now, and I'll put this out to our audience. Now we're able to collect donations,
Okay.
and one of our primary goals is right now. I've been doing the coordinating of the program on a volunteer basis. But what we'd really like to do is hire a part-time coordinator for about 10 hours a week. And so we need to raise funds for that. And it's difficult. A lot of the grants we've looked at will not pay for staff. They'll pay for other things. But so anybody who would like to make a donation to this organization,
Right.
we'd be glad to receive it.
And so they make it out to H4O?
They would
Hour for
they
hour,
would they
or-
would contact me, and then we would do the logistics
Okay.
of how they earmark it for us, but it goes through the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship.
Okay. And now,
So-
Michael, does it cost you as a member? Is there a dues or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, when I joined, the membership is normally $25 to join.
That's
There
not
was a
bad.
discount offered at the time for students, and so I was able
that's
to
good.
join at a discounted rate.
That's good.
But that's the normal fee, and that's of course just to, for the software and to keep basic things running.
Right.
There's not a lot of money involved after that.
Right.
There is, though, and I don't know if Rosemary wants me to talk about. Well, actually, this is a good thing to talk about. In lieu of money, if people don't
Yes,
have
definitely.
$25 to join for the membership, they can do an exchange. They can come and help in some other way, maybe help the board out with something, with promotional materials or any other things that they can come with, and they can actually join and get hours put into their account, which would substitute for the actual payment of the $25 for membership, if that's the case. But I just want to say too, real quick, that another great thing that I see in this is the fact that we're talking about the difficulty in reaching out for help, but there's another facet of this that is interesting, and that people don't realize how much they have to offer, and another thing is that Rosemary mentioned earlier about the community growing, and that's a good thing in some ways, but it also creates a disconnect that where people don't speak to each other and people don't acknowledge each other
That's
the way
right.
they used to.
That's right.
And so, this is a way, and it's safe because we do a background check, not
No,
intensive.
we don't do a background
Well,
check.
not a background check. We do a reference.
We ask people to give
We ask
two
people
references.
to reference. That's
Yeah, yeah.
right. I'm sorry. We don't have the funds to do a background check.
Right. That would be a
But
little costly.
and again, it's within the community, so we do ask people to put down a couple of people who know them, so that we can just and then also we have the 18 and between 18 and over
Right.
thing. So
Right.
there's safety features in place so that we're not putting anyone at risk. Having strangers come into your home if that's the case.
Right.
But the main thing is, another thing is that people also don't really acknowledge that they have things to offer. The first thing people say is, well, I don't really have any skills or any talent outside of maybe what we do for work. Everyone usually equates their skill level with their job. But I feel like for me, I had to dig a little bit and see, well, what can I do that's besides just paperwork and accounting and things like that. But I'm good company. And sometimes people may want, or maybe some of our shut-in elderly may want some company to read or to do some things
that
for
would be
them.
what I would do.
You
I
know
would
what I mean?
love to
So-
read to people. I used to love reading to my kids.
Right, you mentioned earlier that you
Yeah.
love to read. So
Yeah.
if you really wanted to do something for someone because it's little simple things that really make us happy. Even though we look at the big picture a lot of times, you know, a little bit of attention, a little bit of time with somebody goes a long way in helping us to feel worthy. So, you know, there's a big thing in that, within the community. And so it's not just about getting the courage to reach out for help. It's also about making connections, you know, interacting with your neighbor.
Yeah, no, that's very important.
And also realizing that you do have something to offer to your community, no matter how small it might seem to you.
Now, I know Rosemary wanted to a friend of Cat TV is Nathan Wallace-Senf, and you said you might want to relate your story about how Nathan reached out and helped you.
Oh, okay. I had, thinking I was going to do it all myself, I had started building a garden shed and got everywhere up to the point of where I was going to be tiling the roof.
I'm impressed that you made it. Not just that you built this. God.
And I put out a request, is anybody in the exchange want to do, you know, the tile, put on the roof shingles?
Yeah.
And Nathan responded that he would be willing to do that. And so we have, anytime there's an exchange, there's what we call a commitment conversation between the two people, where you mutually agree, now, when are you going to come? How long is it going to take? You know, if materials, do you want me to buy the shingles ahead of time, or do you want to buy them and I'll pay you? Whatever. And so we had this exchange, and Nathan at the end of it said, you know, it would really be an easier job and safer if I had an assistant, and I work with a man named John Chambers. What about, but he's not a member of the exchange.
Right.
And so I said, well, why don't you come, and for the hours, the job's going to take half the time, so I'll pay you the hours that you're here, and I'll pay him cash for his part of it.
Right.
So there's some flexibility in the exchanges between people, as long as it's mutually agreeable between the parties that are exchanging. You know, so that was a wonderful thing. I got my roof put on in an afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, he came with all the tools he needed.
That's
and
great.
used those, and you know, it worked out wonderful for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know one of the things that you need to be thinking about too is fundraising. You said that you now can accept donations and stuff.
Yes.
Do you have ideas? Are you looking for ideas? Abby, do you know what, or Rosemary? Or I just thought I'd give Abby a minute here. Do you know what anything that you guys have been talking about as far as fundraising?
I don't know, but I'm down to help fundraise.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Rosemary.
We do have a subcommittee. The outreach committee that meets, and we meet once a month also.
Oh, okay.
And we do try to come together, and we have some ideas coming up. You know, we're trying to, you know, we put out our little sign and our little table at events around town. We were at the farmers market.
Okay.
On Saturdays, once in a while, on Saturdays.
Did you do Mayfest?
We do the first. We haven't.
Okay, well, maybe next year you can do Mayfest.
We do the first Saturday of every month, the farmers market.
All
we
right,
have a booth there where people can get information.
Oh, that's good.
And we're doing outreach to organizations. So if you have an organization, and I'll say this again to the audience, if you have an organization that you would like us to come present to, we can do a 15-minute just sort of overview, and then people who are interested can leave their name and we'll get back to them, and then do a full orientation. Or we can do a full orientation, which takes a little over an hour, and we explain the program, we demonstrate the software, and then we show you how to actually go online and do an application. And people can do that directly. You can go to ourworld.org, and on that front page there's a button that says join, and when you hit that button you've got a scroll down menu, and you'll be amazed at the list of all of the exchanges that are there, and you have to scroll way down to the bottom to Vermont.
Okay.
And then Bennington, Hour for Our Community. And when you click there, it'll bring you to our website, but the only part you can access as a non-member is this first page where you sign on and you list 2 references. So you give your name, your address, your phone number, your emails, the contact information, and then 2 references. And then you submit that. And from that point, then we call your references, then we contact you and set up a time for an orientation. We do our orientations the second Saturday of every month.
Okay.
We're now doing them at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship.
They do a lot of good things there.
They do wonderful
and
things there.
wonderful concerts.
Yes, and it's a space that feels good. You know, oftentimes you go to these places where you can have a meeting and it's pretty sterile.
Yeah.
But this is a very comfortable space, and they are wonderful. And a number of their members are members of our. Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me.
Which is why I think we got in the door in this regard. But we do the orientation at 1 o'clock, except this coming month is going to be at noon. But normally it's at 1 o'clock, and that takes about an hour. And then we're trying something different now. Instead of having a potluck in the evening, we're having just a casual mixer.
Oh, okay.
And it starts right after the orientation at 2. So people who have been oriented as a potential new member can now meet other members and make connections right away.
Oh, that's very nice.
So we did that for the first time last month, and that worked out well.
Okay.
So I think we're going to use that model for a while.
All right. Now, and Ryan will make sure that all this information, your Facebook, your H40
The contact information,
all your contact information, Ryan will make sure that's at the end of the show.
Okay.
You know, who is responsible for this pamphlet that I cut up I have in front of me?
We actually went, and I'm glad you asked that. We went to the Career Development Center and talked to Barbara Gabardi, who's one of the
She's great. I love Barbara.
Communications and design, and went to her with the idea. And when we were first starting, 2 of her seniors took it on as a project. So they actually treated us as their clients, and we went in with ideas. You know, we wanted to include the clock.
Right.
And
they're responsible for this too?
They made this form, and
This
we
is
also
great.
have a sandwich board that we put out when we were meeting at the library. When we didn't have a home in a sense,
right.
we would put it out wherever we were, and they made that. So
well, I'm very impressed with it because it's not wordy, and it's set up so nicely. It's very concise.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with the pamphlet.
This is the pamphlet. You might see it around at various places, and it gives a little design.
No,
but
I
they
think
did
it's very And you said 2 seniors took it on as a project.
2 seniors took it on as a project.
Well, I hope they got a good grade.
Well, they did,
hope they
and
did.
you know, I was told that when we give them credit, and there is credit given at the
here?
bottom here.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It says logo designed by the CDC Communications Technology students.
How did I miss
They
that?
did it as a whole group because it's right on the border of the dark print.
Oh, okay. Oh, I missed that. Okay.
And it's tiny print, you know.
Okay. No wonder I missed that.
But
oh,
yeah,
well, that's great. I'm glad
so
that they got...
that has been a very nice connection.
Yeah. A very, very, very nice. Now, and you did decide that people have to be at least 18 to be a part of the organization. Another thing that I was interested in when I looked at this was the fact that it's very concise, as I said before, and it really. You pick up this pamphlet, folks. Where might the pamphlet be found?
We have the pamphlets on the table at the health department.
Okay.
I think there were some at the village spa. We can put them at other places. We're actually down to. We have to go to another printing.
And I handed out about 500.
Wow.
Yeah, Rosemary decided to just give me a bunch because
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that just come up to you and say, "Hey, you got to read this."
Yeah. Okay.
So I took a bunch of them. I still have some left, and I hand them out, to people. And the different volunteer things that I do is a good opportunity for me to introduce this to them too.
There are ones at the Dutch Bakery at the end of Main Street.
Oh, okay. Before you got involved, Abby, did you do a lot of volunteering before this came into your life? This program?
I've always kind of been into volunteering and community action things. I've worked for nonprofits before, and I like getting involved. It's been really interesting, the connections that it's built for me. So I definitely love the giving back part and being able to, take it easy and get a little help sometimes.
Yeah, no, I
And-
never, because of this show, Your Friends and Neighbors, I never, I mean, Ann Bugby, my gosh, she came on and did a wonderful program. Ellen Varick, all these people that some of them I have known, but I'm not close friends. I mean, but I've had so many different types of people on here, and it's wonderful. And to be able to have an organization like this come on and be able to share the information, and I hope that people are listening very closely and that you will want to become a member. As I said, I mean, if I become a member, I
What do you
think
mean
I
if?
would well, you know, I would like to go and read to people. I would
Yes.
feel comfortable doing that. Or even to, you know, if you had a child in the hospital,
Yeah.
I'd go and read a children's story.
Yeah.
I've done that before as a volunteer. I got a call the other day, would you come in to Pownell School and read a Dr. Seuss story for Dr. Seuss's birthday? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be around, so I'm not going to be able to do it, which reminds me, I need to call. I need to call and let them know that. I forgot to call this morning. But yeah, no,
You know,
I
it's,
don't go out and
Yeah.
look for places to volunteer. It just sort of falls into my lap. Cat TV sort of. I
Yep.
was here.
Yeah.
Why don't you do this? I was at the radio station. If it hadn't been for Bob Howe, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have volunteered there. It's like acting jobs or whatever. They
Right.
just sort of fall into
Yeah.
my lap, and so
It's because of your persona.
yeah, I guess so. But people think that, oh, you get paid
No.
at Cat TV. No, this is all volunteer. It's all something I enjoy doing. And it's great to be able to give people a forum in which to talk about different things, or just to talk about their life and their life stories. I'm sure everybody here has some wonderful stories that they could share about their lives. And I'm very impressed with the idea of this program. I just think it's a wonderful. And is there anything we haven't covered
There's
that
two
you'd like
things.
to talk about? Okay,
two things I'd
Okay.
like to mention. One is that we haven't referenced. We've always talked about services, but we also have put onto this site an equipment or tool sharing, so that if you need to borrow a 10-foot extension ladder,
Right.
or ramps to put something onto the back of a truck, or
wow.
with spring coming, the spreaders to spread lime on your front lawn or something. Instead of everybody buying one of their own,
Yeah.
or you can go to a rental place and rent them, but you can also arrange with us.
What about snow shoveling?
We have roof rakes that are
Okay.
available, and if you put out the request to have somebody come and snow shovel, there are people who might be willing
will
to
do
do
it.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
And we have a way, if nobody's offering something, you can request it, because they might be willing to do it. They never thought of offering it.
I have a
So
little
the tool
drawer in the
program-
kitchen. I think, do I have a Phillips head screwdriver? No, I don't. I guess I don't.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's
Yeah.
the hammer. The
Yeah.
head is falling off. Well, that's
Yeah.
not good. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not a big tool
Yeah.
person, but if somebody
Yeah.
could, have
Right.
the tools and could come and do it,
Yeah.
that'd be
You
great.
know, Willie, another interesting exchange that I remember sometime at the beginning of long winter was the pellet.
Oh, yes.
The pellet project.
Okay.
We have,
Somebody, I don't
have
remember
some
the name.
pictures
You,
of this.
you do have that, all right.
And this was an example where a member put out the request for somebody else and said, at 5 o'clock on this day, 5 pallets of pellets are going to be delivered. Will you come help unload them? And it ended up being a multi-generational group. I was the oldest person there, and it
Okay.
went down to high school students,
Huh.
because though they're not members, their parent brought
Okay.
them.
They
Okay?
brought- okay.
And so we went from 5 pallets at 5 o'clock to 5:30. They were all unloaded and in the basement at this house. And the woman who was a member gave the time credits to those of us who were members who were there, and offered to the mother, to give a time credit for each, to give her the time credits for her children.
Right.
And so you can also use your time credits as a gift. But that intergenerational connection and that idea of this job that would have taken a long time to do by yourself,
Yeah.
many hands make light work,
Yeah.
and it builds relationships.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So yeah, so that was.
That's a
and-
great story.
yeah.
And,
And we have a few slides,
yeah,
photos.
just
of
to
that.
add
Well,
to that
yeah.
too, the important thing too, real quick about that intergenerational was, one of the things our outreach committee is trying to focus on are getting the word out to our youth, 18 and over,
Right.
but to younger people.
Yeah.
Like Rosemary said earlier, a lot of our members are, 40 and over or whatever, something like that, and that's fine. That's cool, but there's a lot more people out there that we know can benefit from this.
Yeah.
And it's also a networking tool, for the younger people. You go, you volunteer, you go and you do something for someone at someone's house, and while you're walking the dog or shoveling or whatever it is that you're doing, you start talking. Next thing you know, this guy's the head of some company and you're looking for a job. And, there's so many things that can come from communication that we don't really think about.
Right.
And it's not just about doing things like, moving things or hanging things up or shoveling or, there's people who are great cooks. And I think of Bruce when
Yes.
I always tease Bruce about it because I still haven't taken advantage of it. I always get so busy, but he makes a great lentil.
Oh, the lentil soup?
He makes
Oh,
all
okay.
kinds of
He
soup.
makes
kinds of
everything.
soup. Okay.
And he'll put out an offer, for a quart,
a quart of soup.
and he will deliver
for
it.
time credit.
I'll take a quart of
Yeah.
soup.
And
anytime.
just a simple thing like that. Now, there might be somebody who loves that and who just doesn't know how to make it or
Right.
doesn't feel like making it.
Right,
Or
right.
it might be winter and it's cold and whatever, And so here we have somebody who's actually offering to deliver some
Right.
food to you.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, it's just a great deal, and there's no strings attached.
Right, right.
You know?
I know we're getting short on
Yeah,
time. You said
okay.
there were two things?
Well,
the sharing of tools.
I was going to mention also, it's not just about I need something.
Uh-huh.
Abby,
Okay.
when she first became a member, was working toward becoming a certified masseuse.
Uh-huh.
And she needed to do a number of massages to get certified.
Oh.
Well, she could reach out to her own friends and do that.
Ah, okay.
But through the exchange,
Ah.
she put that offer out, and a number of members of the exchange, could get a massage, something they would probably not think to do for themselves and spend money doing,
Right.
but did it,
Right.
and it was a win-win situation. So it's not just need.
Right.
It's, there are things there that will just enrich your life.
Right.
And I guess if we're winding down, I just,
Yeah,
in terms
I know we don't
of
have much time.
participants, want to re-stress the two things we're looking for now in order to grow. Okay, is contributions, financial contributions.
I'll
if
give you
people are
one
interested.
before you leave today.
Okay,
Don't leave.
and also venues in which to spread this word.
Right. Yes.
So
Yeah.
any of those, people can contact me, and the phone number will be available on
Okay. Okay.
at the end
yeah.
of the show.
Well, this has been really interesting to listen to what you all have to say, and again, the real wealth of a society is its people.
Yes.
Doing it the Vermont way, neighbor to neighbor, so that you need me becomes we need each other, and I think that's it. Who came up with that? Who came up with that little saying? Was this
that
the
was
students or
no,
something that?
this was our board of directors.
Okay.
That was almost a year when we were doing the planning
All right.
of what are the
Okay.
values, what are the underlying
Okay.
principles that we want to work under.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Rosemary Pelletier and Abby Skidmore and Michael Washington for being here today.
Thank you
This is
for
very
having
us. Thank you so
interesting,
much.
and also some of the things that Rosemary is talking about. There might be some photos showing up in the show too that you'll be also being able to view. So again, thank you very much, and everyone, thank you for watching your friends and neighbors. And if you're not watching, you better be watching. And tell your friends about your friends and neighbors and this wonderful project. So thank you very much, and we shall see you next time.
Everything's
Ta-ta.
okay. I take a long look around, I have to say, this time of year, it becomes clear. Those you hold dear, you draw them near, this time of day, everything's okay.